My name is Abdullah Rothman. I'm the principal of Cambridge Muslim College. We started our work over 10 years ago to fill a gap in the British Muslim community and help Muslim religious leaders understand and integrate with British society and culture to sort of build a bridge for the next generation. Our mission is to develop Muslim thought leadership through education, training, and research based on a dialogue between the sacred Islamic tradition and the circumstances of the modern world. The Islamic tradition is hugely rich and diverse and vast resource of knowledge and wisdom. It's not only relevant to a historic time and place, but it's meant to be understood and adapted to every time and place. Over time, as people and societies have become disaggregated and we have collectively drifted away from a holistic orientation to knowledge and life and spirituality, there has been, I think, an artificially imposed dichotomy between the sacred and the profane. And this has resulted in what I see as a travesty, where we don't fully benefit from what the great wisdom traditions have to offer our contemporary reality. I think we would do well to look to sacred and traditional wisdom to find practical solutions to many of our contemporary crises, especially at this point in time, when the world is really in dire need of positive change and creative solutions and just to be more connected to the heart of humanity. There's so much that needs to change in the world, and I think we have seen this highlighted within the COVID pandemic over the past 2 years. We're discovering that our ways of living and functioning are not as solid as we thought, and systems and comforts and even relationships have begun to break down. For many of us, it's been a wake-up call that things need to change. Of course, there are systemic changes that need to happen in order to create a more peaceful, equitable, and sustainable future for the next generation. But also, the pandemic has led many of us to discover we have been neglecting our own inner peace, and we've awoken to the fact that inner change is also needed on a more personal, individual level. There's a passage from the Quran in Surah Ar-Ra'd in the chapter titled Thunder, which says, God will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. In Islam, we believe in destiny, that God is in control of our affairs, but that does not mean we don't have self-responsibility and agency. It's our job. In fact, I would say it's our purpose, really, here in this life, to change our condition, to change what is within ourselves. And we can only do that with self-awareness and perseverance and striving internally toward a better state of being, toward a better condition from where we are. So what is it exactly that is within ourselves that we need to change? Is it our thoughts? Is that the central aspect of what determines who we are and what state of being we're in? I would say that within British society, there certainly seems to be an identification of our identity with how we think and what we think, which determines who we are. And this is certainly also true of the British Muslim community. And yet this is not necessarily the whole picture of who we are and what it is that we need to change within ourselves from an Islamic perspective. There's a hadith, a saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, in the body there's a piece of flesh. If it is sound, the whole body is sound. And if it is corrupt, the whole body is corrupt. And surely it is the heart. We know that the organ that pumps blood is central to the health of the physical body, but here the focus is on the spiritual heart. This saying of the Prophet, peace be upon him, indicates how central the heart is within the Islamic perspective of the conception of the human being. And it is this that we must change the state of within ourselves in order for God to change our condition. So how does one change the state of their heart? For most of us, the extent to which we can identify with and make changes is in our thoughts. And this shows in the fact that the most prominent form of treatment method in contemporary psychology and psychotherapy is cognitive behavioral therapy. We tend to only focus on changing cognitions, as this tends to be the only thing that we have any sense of or connection with within ourselves. My doctoral education and training is in psychology, And in my book, Developing a Model of Islamic Psychology and Psychotherapy, I explore and map out how the Islamic tradition has an intricate science of understanding the heart as the center of the human being, and that it provides practical tools and, I would say, therapies for healing the heart as the center of the human self or psyche. And it kind of broadens the picture of psychology to what the word actually means, the study of the soul, which includes the mind, the body, and the spiritual reality of the human being, rather than this disconnected notion of the thinking mind as being the core identity of the human being. Some may wonder, what is a psychologist doing as the principal of an Islamic theological college? And what does psychology have to do with religious knowledge? At our college, our mission is to train the next generation of Muslim thinkers and to develop Muslim thought leadership. But the reality is that we need more than just thinkers, and that true leadership, which inspires change in people, can only do so by those who themselves are changed internally and who have sound hearts. Traditional knowledge was never studied for the sake of knowledge itself. The pursuit of knowledge was meant to change people, so that the knowledge in effect illuminates the heart. In Islam, we have the Quran, which teaches us the knowledge as taught by God, and we have the Prophet, peace be upon him, who is known to be the walking Quran. This means that he embodied the knowledge in action, in practical application, by being a perfected human being and being an example for us all. So the knowledge and wisdom in the Islamic tradition is meant to be embodied. It is meant to inspire change within ourselves. So psychology, or the study of the soul, and the application of it through personal psycho-spiritual development by working on our heart to change our state, is really at the very core of what religions teach us. And I would say specifically what is at the heart of Islamic education, or tarbiyah. We are at a time when the world needs all of the wisdom and help it can get to heal. And the Islamic tradition is a treasure trove of healing gems that can provide practical solutions to many of the ills of our time. We don't need to keep traditional wisdom relegated to the past or to houses of worship. We need leaders who are comfortable navigating the complexities of the modern world, not just for Muslims, but for Bani Adam, the collective humanity.